So guys, before jumping into the RK-9000V2 RGB, I just wanted to say real quick a review of my thoughts of the V1. The V1, one of the best keyboards I ever had. Nothing too flashy, really great, durable design. And Rosewill came nothing less, coming with the Rosewill V2. So as you guys can see, I will do a close-up comparison. These are literally the same exact keyboards, except a newer design logo, and this one has full function keys. These are RGB blue, these are RGB brown. So of course the blues are louder versus the browns. But anyways guys, these two keyboards here are by far my favorite keyboards Rosewill ever did, or have ever done. So in both of these keyboards, I will also show close-ups of this. These are very thick keyboards. These are very thick, durable keyboards. These things can definitely take a smashing if you're playing one of your favorite RPG games and you just get really mad. These guys will definitely take the beating. As you can see here, this is the RK-9000V2, and I'm actually bending this and there's barely any flex at all. These guys are really nice and heavy keyboards. I will put the specs up over here. So yeah guys, so jumping into this keyboard, as soon as I plugged in the keyboard, it was instantly plug and play. There was no problem at all. I will say though, later going on, there's only one complaint I have with it. This might be a driver thing that maybe they can update later on. But guys, I think one of my favorite features about this keyboard isn't that it has the RGBs and a lot of different kind of other profiles and stuff. My favorite part is, like you guys know, it is the detachable USB cable right here. This by far is my favorite feature you can ever put on a keyboard because it's really nice, especially when like I have a glass countertop desk. So if I need to clean anything, it's kind of hard and it's a pain if your keyboard is completely wired. You need to move it, you gotta set it up, move it all around. These guys, think unplug, set it over there, wipe it and put it back. Also with portability, it makes it really nice and portable just to unplug it, put that cable somewhere in a different pocket and slip this guy in. This is why this is by far one of my favorite keyboards that Rosewill has ever done. These actually probably are, compared to all the other keyboards I've tried, the RK series by Rosewill is definitely one of my favorites. They're just really nice and strong. And so guys, going into this keyboard, I will have close-ups of everything that I talk about, and I will show some of the RGB features. Going in here, you guys will see that we have this function key right here, which will have a close-up of it. And there's over 50 different macros that you can program on this guy, which is really nice. So the cool thing that I actually have never seen before on a keyboard is there's different profiles. You have you have 6 different profiles that you can do for different lighting. So say if you want profile 1 to have a certain lighting style, you set it on program 1 and then you leave that profile. And say you want to go profile 6, you set profile 6 to a specific color, pattern, or whatever LED pattern you want, and you can leave it there and you can go back to 1 and you'll have the same exact pattern that you left off with. Now that's really cool. I wouldn't really see too much of a use of it unless you have a specific, really favorite specific profile that you guys want to use and you guys want to quickly be able to get to it. For me, I just typically stick on one profile and I'll just scroll through whichever ones I like. So looking up over here up against the F keys, we have media keys. So these are actually browser keys, media keys, trash bin keys, and play keys. And then also we have our Windows lock button. Coming up over here, we have more LED profiles. Basically, whenever you press these ones, they have a specific profile, just like if you were to adjust a different kind of LEDs. And same with these guys up here. Basically, these top guys here to me are going to be the ones that you're mostly going to be using next to the guys here and the guys up over there. But I frequently see myself using these keyboards, especially while playing games, and I will be using this guy a ton. Now, going over to our arrow keys, you guys can see that it's actually pretty cool. So we have to go up. We have one for going up and down on the profiles, except the one thing is on the patterns is when you go up, there's a selection of 4 or 5 different patterns, and when you go down, there's a couple different other selections, which I thought was cool. And then your left and right arrows are going to be used for speeding up the LEDs, like if you like a slower nice, slow, visual, appealing pattern, then you guys will slow down your LED. But if you want a really fast, you know, crazy patterns, then you just speed it up just by doing that, and it's really nice. Now, I will say, going through this keyboard and explicitly testing a lot of stuff, what I noticed was, if you kind of messed around so much to the point where you were messing around with the RGBs, all the different kind of color schemes, and you kind of got lost, there was a point sometimes where I had to unplug and plug in back the keyboard because nothing was typing. It was almost the keyboard wasn't working. Like I said before, that might be a driver side of things. Maybe Rosewill can maybe down or upload a driver onto their website, and it's a simple fix. But occasionally, whenever, especially when I switch through the F5 and F6 and then I go through these, it definitely got to the point sometimes where I actually couldn't use the keyboard to type. I had to go and unplug it, but that's fine. That's why we have up here to unplug and plug back in. It's very simple and very nice. So another thing that this keyboard has, which almost all keyboards do, and that is an N key rollover. It's really nice, especially pressing multiple keys at the same time. You don't have to worry about that. The thing that is a little bit, you know, it kind of makes me upset, but I mean, it would kind of take away from the build quality, is the plastic around it is a really nice matte black. Except if you have your thumbs on it and you kind of have sweaty hands, you definitely can leave fingerprints, but honestly, that's not a big deal. That's just kind of it's really easy and simple, nice to just kind of clean it off. Like I said before, it's a very, very strong keyboard. Now these have a dual layer PCB design inside of the keyboard to make it nice and heavy and really stiff. The previous Rosewill keyboard I reviewed, I wasn't too big of a fan of the build design. It was strong, but it's not going to be as strong as these guys are. This is why these are my favorite keyboards that Rosewill comes out with, just because the build quality I feel like gets put first, and then after that later on everything else comes second, which I think should be on a lot of keyboards. So like I said before, there's actually 8 LED profiles, really nice LEDs. The thing though that kind of made me a little iffy about this keyboard is the LEDs put into the previous Rosewill keyboard that I reviewed was a lot different than these ones. I felt like the ones on the other keyboard were much more brighter than these ones. Don't get me wrong, now these guys are bright, but when you have an open window, lights on, doors open and everything, it's not super bright as you would see for most keyboards. The previous one that I reviewed is definitely bright with or without the lights on, but with this guy, it's kind of a dull color. I feel like that they could have made the LEDs just pop a little bit more to kind of get that satisfaction. A lot of the times, I guess why people really like Razer keyboards are just because, one, it's just the key switches, but on top of that, their LEDs are really visual appealing if you haven't noticed. You definitely get that satisfaction of just really bright feeling keyboard. This guy, it's really nice in the dark, but when you bring it out to other like sunny places, not sunny places, but places with more light, the colors just seem really dull on this guy, which I feel like was the only real downfall of this. So for the key switches on this guy, what I have with me today is the blue switches. This comes in brown and blue. As you guys can see, we'll have also another close-up. It is not an actual RGB switch, it is a blue switch with the RGB backlit. It's still a really nice, great feeling keyboard. At first, it kind of doesn't sound like it's a blue switch, but later on it kind of got onto me, and going back to the other blue switch keyboard, I realized it actually does sound a lot like a blue switch. So guys, in conclusion for this keyboard, I think it is actually a really nice keyboard. Starting at $120, but actually this weekend only you guys can get a 15% off. It is actually, to me, a really well thought out keyboard. Typically I'm not a fan of RGB keyboards for the simple fact that they are too flashy for me, except this guy actually does the job for not being too flashy. So guys, in conclusion, for $120 you guys are actually getting a pretty nice keyboard compared to all the others. This weekend only, if you guys use our code, which I'll have up in the corner right here, you guys will be getting 15% off. For me, this is actually a really good feeling keyboard. I'm not sure about you guys, if you guys like the thick build on it. Some people like a really thin, low profile keyboard, but for me, I think the thicker the better, the stronger the better. I'm going to be more happy. Especially if my hand comes down on one of these keyboards, if I get really mad at something, then I don't have to worry about me breaking it or snapping it in half because of that dual layer PCB in the middle. So guys, if I had the decision of picking up this keyboard or picking up another one, for me, I would probably end up going with this guy just for the simple fact that most keyboards with these features are more than $120, and I realize that. Now, a downfall for this keyboard is, versus other keyboards that are up in the 150 plus ranges, you're not getting your own suite. So what I mean by that, Razer has their own suite. I'm pretty sure Corsair and G-Skill has their own suite of kind of customizability. But for this guy, you just have specific presets. Now, if you are looking for your own kind of suite, specific tinkering with the keyboard and stuff, then this keyboard is definitely not for you. I'm sorry, but Rosewill does not have a suite. It would definitely be cool if they came out, or if their software engineers came out with a really nice suite that could utilize this keyboard. I think that this would be a definite plus on this keyboard, but as of right now, it is just a plug-in and play, which is really nice, and that is why I would definitely highly recommend this keyboard. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that review of the Rosewill RK-9000V2 RGB keyboard. Definitely a fan favorite for me, especially going from the RK-9000V1. Like I said before, one of my favorite keyboards that Rosewill comes out with. So guys, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up below. Comment on what else you guys want to see, and also don't forget to use our code if you guys are thinking about buying it. So guys, this is Mirko from Tech, and I'll see you guys in the next one.